Have you been struggling with healing your diastasis recti, doing many things that people tell you to do? Gentle pelvic tilt, heel slide, avoid doing crunches, avoid doing core exercises, bring the gap closer together, suck in your stomach this way, put on a belly binder or don't put on a belly binder. There's just a lot of confusing informations out there. I dug this rabbit hole. I did not invent this new model, but I realized now that I connect the dots backward, I'm able to see what I have been doing, and that worked for me because I have done so many mistakes in the past. But what I'm seeing now is because I have seen this new model, and this is what worked for me and the hundreds of clients that I've helped one-on-one. So I wanted to share with you, okay, what is this new way and what are the old way and what are the differences in this video today. So let's dive into it. Now, I know many of you who are watching this understand what diastasis recti is. It's ab separation during pregnancy, and that separation still stay put after you have given birth, that making you look like you're still pregnant. Now, the information and what you've told to heal this, it's actually quite outdated, and I'll share with you the 5 main things that people are sharing with you that are outdated. The first thing is that the old focus is closing mainly on the gap. That client that came out with the 12 fingers gap, like put 2 palms in front of you, and that's how wide the gap is on the separation itself. It's crazy, isn't it? Now, most of those people who have that kind of separation, it's probably immediate after postpartum, so maybe within the first week, but then your body is trying to heal on its own, so it will shrink gradually from 12 fingers down to 7, down to 5. So maybe by around 3 months postpartum, and that's why still people say that 60% of women still experience some degree of diastasis recti at 3 months postpartum because they still have about maybe 3 fingers gap or 4 fingers gap. That's quite common. The research, okay, is to bring the gap closer together, bring it down to about 1 finger, and that's it. That's the old focus on healing the diastasis. They're only looking at, okay, can we bring the gap closer? So it's very superficial. They're just trying to bring in the gap instead of thinking about the core stability, the function inside, the organs inside, like what's happening in the deep core muscles. So they obsess about the gap, and so they will ask you to stop doing any crunches or sit up or traditional core exercises that supposedly help you to build abs, right? Build core. But because we were focusing so much on the gap closure, they want you to stop doing all together, because those in research in the past, they are saying that it will actually make it worse. It will split the gap even more. It will stretch out your core muscles. So you need to stop doing that. We need to just bring everything close together, minimize all the chance of that making it worse. Now, the third one is the reliance of belly binder. So some hospital, after you have given birth, especially for C-sections mom, they will give you a binder to help you to bind everything together. And in Asia and some other cultures, not really North American, they will actually encourage you to bind your belly, helping the ribs and the pelvis to put together more so that your bones are not stretched out, and actually helping it to go together, and that will help the diastasis recti. So imagine like if you have a cut or like you broke a bone, right? You put a cast there to hold on to everything. So they are treating the diastasis recti like an injury. So they want you to put a binder and helping you to like put everything put together, and then you're not supposed to move your body, because then you might be making it worse. So they just want to hold everything down together, maybe for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then they will take it away. Now, they heavily reliance on the belly binding. It will help to some degree, and that's why if you have seen some of my other videos, I do recommend the belly wrap for many of my clients. Not all of them is needed, but I do recommend it. But if you're only relying on the belly wrap to help you to heal, that's not gonna work, because the inside of your core, the inside of the abdomen, because you have the superficial layers of the core muscles and then the deeper core of the layer. You're really just putting a band-aid on the solution. You're healing the outside, but you're not healing the inside. Now, another approach and the old focus with diastasis recti is that, okay, if everything fails, then surgery is your only option. I'm sure many of you probably have heard of that from either your OB or physiotherapist, or in general, they will just tell you, okay, you know what? That's okay. Your mom now, finish having your babies, and then you can get a surgery done, a tummy tuck done. So then, then you're fixed. So I feel like it's a very irresponsible way of saying that to moms who haven't even tried it the right way yet. And like there's so many factors in terms of, okay, have they done the exercises enough? Have they done it right? Have they done it for a long enough period of time to see the results? But a lot of the time, the practitioner, they chose not to do those kind of things, but instead telling you to do surgery. And I was in the case too. I remember going into my OB asking like what's happening with my stomach. How come it feels like so squishy? It feels like there's something pushing out the midline, which is the linea alba. And then I was asking her what it is. And so she told me that it was diastasis recti. But so then my instant reaction is like, okay, how do I heal this? How do I fix myself? She's like, oh, surgery is probably the best option for you. So she didn't even give me other options in terms of exercises or like other channels to go through this, but like her first reactions was surgery. I know for a fact that you can heal your diastasis recti without having a surgery, and it doesn't have to be super long to heal it. A few months. That's what my clients are doing. And for me, it wasn't the case. For me, it took me a really long time, and I'll share with you in a bit throughout this video too. But you can definitely do it without surgery. Now, the last point I wanted to point out for the old way of healing diastasis, or the old way to approaching the ab separation, is the heavy restrictions on day-to-day movement. They will tell you, okay, not to bend a certain way, not to twist, not to lift things heavy. How's that possible? Right? Like, I have a child that needs to go to a doctor appointment and I need to put her in the car seat. There's nobody around me to help me. How am I avoid to lift my baby, put her in the car seat, lift a 20-pound car seat and put her into the car? How am I able to avoid that? So like the old way of saying like avoid this, avoid that is just not realistic. For many people, we don't have that luxury to have like a nanny to do everything, or to have the husband to follow us around and do everything for us, right? I wanted to feel capable. I wanted to feel like I am able to do this kind of things. I'm a mom now. I need to be healthier than before to take care of myself and my child, right? I really wanted to share, okay, what is the new way of doing things now? Now, the new way of healing diastasis recti is both about the aesthetic. Of course, we don't want to look like we're 5 months pregnant when we are not. But beside the aesthetic, we also focus more on the functional aspect, the feeling inside, the feeling that you have a strong core, the feeling that you can actually use your core, get yourself up, lift up the baby, go for your swim, go for the hike, or whatever activities that you have enjoyed before baby. You are able to go back to those without feeling restricted or fearful that you're making things worse. So the old way of, okay, obsessing over the gap is not enough. We have to know that the gap is closing, sure, but that is just one indicator of that the diastasis is healing. But also we need to focus on the deep core muscles, the transverse abdominal muscles. So when you're feeling, that's why I don't just get you to feel the gap of the DR, but I also get you to put your finger inside the gap to see how deep it can go inside the gap. Is it a nail deep, a knuckle deep, 2 knuckle, or some of my clients can put the entire finger into the gap. So knowing how to engage your deep core muscles is where it is at. Now, I have seen a lot of YouTube videos, maybe 2, 3, 4 years ago, like on YouTube. I mean, you know, we are in the same space of fitness and helping clients or helping our clients or audience to heal DR. But the way they cue about engaging the core is so fake. They will say things like, okay, you have to engage your core, you know, suck in your stomach, pulling in the belly button toward your spine. Okay, try to engage your core. But the thing is, this is the most important thing, and they say it in the video, this is the most important thing. You have to know how to engage your core. But a lot of the times, and when I work with my client too, they're like, I have no idea what the physio is telling me to do. They tell me to pull in the belly button. I don't even know if I'm doing it right. Like, how am I supposed to know? The thing is, when you don't know, you just don't know. Especially if you have just given birth, your body is sort of like disconnected, like mind to muscles disconnection. That's what I'm talking about. Like, it's like, okay, you're thinking, okay, I'm thinking about pulling in the belly button. Like, are you really? Are you really pulling in the button toward your spine? You're looking at yourself, no, my belly button is still there. How's it pulling toward the spine? So that's why I do have a how to engage your core video that I explain it better in a more detailed way on, okay, how to actually engage your deep core muscles to do these exercises right. Because healing a diastasis recti first has to start with breathing, and I'm going to talk about in just a second. And then the second part is to, knowing how to draw in the entire abdominal, flattening it on an engage. If you're not able to do that, there's a lot more work you need to be done before you can actually draw in the abdomen and then do exercises. Now that leads me to the next point where, in the O focus, there's nothing that says about focusing on breathing and pressure management, but breathing, knowing how to use your diaphragm to breathe, it's so important to healing. This is the abdomen. Your diaphragm is here, this is your core, and then this is your pelvis, right? They have to work together. When you breathe in, diaphragm goes down. When you breathe out, everything contracts. So you need to know how to breathe properly in order for you to contract your core, the deep core muscles. If you are sucking in your stomach without learning how to let go and release, you're only gonna get yourself tighter and tighter, or you're getting your pelvis tighter and tighter, and that will lead to other issues like leaking, prolapses. That is something that you do not want, right? While when you're trying to heal diastasis recti and then other things happens, right? That is the first thing I want you to start doing, is to breathe 360. So meaning the ribs are opening up as you're inhaling through your nose, chest is open and rise up, and belly also rise up, and don't forget your back. Inhale, exhale. So go check out 360 breath, or don't skip this exercise when you're healing. So check that. It's a follow along 17 minutes video that you can actually get your body into that relaxed mode of breathing and expansion. And then the magic comes after the breath is to engage and contract, so you can actually flatten your stomach, right? So that's what we want here, right? Flattening the stomach, using the core the way it should be, so you can do functional movement with it. Now, speaking of functional movement, earlier I mentioned the old way would be like, you cannot bend, you cannot twist, you cannot lift, you cannot do a bunch of things. But the new way is, you need to incorporate these skills in day to day. You cannot just do gentle pelvic tilt, bird dog, heel tap kind of exercises forever. At some point, you need to incorporate cardio and strength training into your routine, because those exercises eventually will just be too easy for you. But I'll tell you a story. What happens with me is that I did not know about 360 breathing. I did not know about the importance of using the deep core muscles. Nobody ever taught me anything about that. When I went to the physio just told me, you need to do a scarf exercise, where I put a scarf around my belly, like the belly wrap. Basically, it's now I'm pulling the scarf, right, crisscrossing, pulling the scarf, right, and then I'm gonna just try to pull in the skin and the stomach to the middle together, pull it manually to help to close the gap. So that was the technique to me. But then what happened was that I found it way too boring doing that exercises 10 reps and 2 times a day. I found, oh my God, I cannot stand it. It was just a way, as soon as I lay down on the floor, I would already be falling asleep. That's how tired I was taking care of 2 under 2. And so there was no way I could do that exercise, but I still did it. And I mean, sure, the gap closed, just like the old theory was saying, you put a binder on, you're helping the gap to close, the emphasis was closing the gap, and then so you will be able to close the gap, and that was it. So yeah, the gap was closed, but I did feel that there was just my stomach still bulges out, and I really didn't feel that much strength inside of my core. So then I was thinking to myself, I needed to lose weight, and also I needed to just move around my body. I wanted to sweat. I wanted to run around. I just wanted to have energy. I don't want to do boring exercises on the floor. So I started kind of I take your advice on doing the scarf exercises and just laying on the floor and thinking about drawing the stomach together. But I started doing strength training exercises and cardio, so HIIT workout. I started doing HIIT workout and doing 30 minutes at home in my living room with my baby. And I felt a lot stronger. And I felt good. But what was missing for me was that even though, yes, I was doing all these HIIT workout and feeling good, but I didn't know how to use my deep core muscles. So that was a big, major missing components for me, because nobody taught me the importance of knowing how to breathe, first of all, knowing how to engage my core while I was doing burpee, jumping jack, or like just a lot of hip workout where you go up and down the floor, come back up, and all of that. I didn't know how to use my core, so I still felt really weak, and my stomach was still continue to bulge. So like, even if I learned how to put the gap closer together, and I did hip workout, and like maybe I toned up everybody else, but except for my tummy, and that is the problem. Here's my tummy. I actually took a step back after doing hip workout and go back into studying more about how to actually heal the core. And then I follow experts such as Dr. Sarah Dovo, Manira Hudani, and I did studies and courses as well in terms of learning how to heal. So I took a step backward after doing the hip workout and actually learning, 360 breathing, that's what Dr. Sarah talked about. How do we breathe? How do we engage? It's a chicken and an egg problem here, Without a good breath, you cannot engage properly. Without engaging your core properly, you cannot then release and expand. And then I incorporate different movement and challenging myself through a progressive overloading approach, which I learned from my expert, and then trying it on my body. And then I realized, wow, I can finally feel that the gap. First of all, it was like a over two knuckle for me. I finally can see it down to a nail deep. And then I was also noticing I wasn't coning anymore. I was still coning while doing hip workout, but I did not realize that because, again, I wasn't educated on that. And so education is a big part, and I really wanted to share with you the new approach and the new informations about this too, with regarding to how to do it. It's not that it's just about closing the gap, right? And it's not about just doing the core exercises, but overloading with functional movement, strength training exercises, but with the premises of knowing how to breathe and engage your core. And as you move forward, you're doing strength training and cardio, these functional movement that you need so you can lift your baby up and do all these things. Then you're looking at yourself, are you coning? Are you bulging? So those are pressure mismanagement. So pressure management is something that wasn't really taught in the old literature, but nowadays there's a lot of focus on pressure management, meaning are they focused pushing down on your pelvis? Are you feeling pain down there? Do you feel like you have the urge to go pee? Are you leaking at all? And then, or like, are you bulging out? Is your stomach making a triangle shape? So those are the factors that you need to look at as you are loading these exercises toward challenging exercises. So the old way is like, do not do these, but the new way is like, do these to a certain extent where, you can manage your pressure. And the pressure management also has a lot to do with your posture as well. How is your form when you're doing the exercise? Now, lastly, the old way definitely have nothing about this because the researcher or doctor are mostly physical therapists and they are more in the medical field on, helping you to heal these injuries. So nobody talks about diastasis recti nutrition. Nutrition is something that I don't think I've heard anybody talk about that except for me. Nutrition will play a major role, not just for your weight loss, but if you have no weight to lose, nutrition is still going to play a critical role in terms of the way you look. Bloating is a big issue for postpartum moms, and especially if you're diastasis recti. Inflammation after postpartum is real. It makes you look puffy. It makes your stomach looks more distended. The best example is like in the morning, you might wake up looking, you have a flatter tummy, you look like you're not that pregnant, but as the day goes on, by evening time, you look like you're 5 months, right? So bloating is a big thing, and nutrition is going to help you with so much. So if you've been stuck in healing your diastasis recti in the old way, I hope this video opened your eyes on what's really like to heal the DR now in this 2025. It really is an empowerment, empowering you to make the decision to do functional things, to not be fearful, to do more, to do better, but in a gradual, progressive overloading approach, meaning, putting more and more challenges on a week-to-week basis. So yeah, I wanted to hear from you, like what were some of the ridiculous things that were told to you, and what have you tried that you've been working on consistently and just doesn't work, and what were some of the old ways that I discussed to you with you today that you have heard from other people before. I'd love to learn more about you. Comment down below, and if you do like this video, subscribe to my channel. I do have a lot of other videos regarding diastasis recti, how to strengthen, how to heal, and if you need inspiration, I have lots of before and after photos of my clients and myself on my channel. I would love for you to check it out because it's never too late to heal, even if you're years postpartum. So I'd love to learn more about you, and check out the video here that I mentioned about that in this video, and so that you can actually start healing right now. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.